truth in a world of lies. You are listening to the JohnAge Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the AnomicAge, and I am your host, JohnAge, hailing proudly from the coastal plains of the Old North State. I will be your tour guide this evening as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet. A forced march into obsolescence, thrust upon us by a global satanic death cult of pedophiles. We're definitely deep into the dark side of the AM right now. We're set at 3:11 Eastern Standard Time, so I thank you ever so much for bearing with me and joining me this evening if you are live. I know Vegan Bear was up there a moment ago. Thank you so much for putting up with this, because I realized we were live about 30 minutes ago, and then well, you know, the technology just did what it always does, and here I am, and there you are, so I won't belabor those points anymore. I'll just say thank you for dealing with the technological insanity. Check out AnomicAge.com. If you can do no more, please consider becoming a patron. PayPal.me/AnomicAge. Patreon.com/AnomicAge as well. iPhone app, Android app. Subscribe by email. Link, free newsletter. The new stuff on the platform. You can buy me a cup of coffee. And you can definitely donate direct right there with the Cash App. So please consider doing that as well. I will try my best not to waste any more of your time. I'll jump headlong into the deep end of the pool where I wanted to be so long ago. Title of tonight's episode is Pretending It's Normal. And I'm going to try my best to be concise. I swear I should just put myself in timeout when the technology goes awry, because I was in a good mood. And now it's just not. I'm just trying to hold it together. But pretending it's normal. I can't help but think of the Social Distortion song, Making Believe That You Still Love Me. Making believe, folks. And, different topic. But is it? I think so many times the American people do just want to make believe. They want to pretend that everything's going to be all right. They want to pretend it's okay. They don't want to acknowledge the jackpot that we're all in, because if we all just keep playing pretend, it'll somehow just be all right. That's the sort of mentality. The cognitive dissonance, the normalcy bias, just the wanting to believe the best in everyone, wanting to believe that everything's not as fouled up as it really portends to be. And that, I would suggest and submit to you, is the greatest problem. Because we could run down the laundry list of others, but that might just be the biggest one. Making believe it's going to be all right. Pretending it's normal. Just pretend it's normal, folks. And I'm on YouTube again somehow, so I'm not going to get as real as I want to get. But if you check out AnomicAge.com, I guarantee you we're at, what are we up now? Episode 440. So you got at least 440 episodes that you have not seen yet. And that's not even the episodes that have guests. That's just me. So check those out. Become a patron. Cash out. All that good stuff. I'm going to say it again before we're through. Making believe that it's all right. Pretending it's normal, folks. That is the number one problem. Because we do not want to face the facts that we are neck deep in the grave of America. And I really wanted to try to pinpoint where it all just sort of went belly up. You know me, and you know I've discussed the 1960s ad nauseum as being that pivotal turning point of when America went from, I'm tempted to use this phrase my grandmother would say occasionally, but it went from sugar to Shinola. There you go. Went from sugar to Shinola pretty goddamn quick. You know what I mean? It sure did. And yeah, you could point in the 1960s for sure. That was where a lot, if not 90% of it went south. But how far back you want to take this whole thing? You want to look into Woodrow Wilson with the Federal Reserve Act and the income tax. Yeah, you want to take a look at Nixon putting us off the gold standard and putting us into a war on drugs. Want to look at FDR and all his commie ties and connections and putting us into just a welfare state. Well, he kind of gave us the precursor to the welfare state. I guess LBJ kind of put that final welfare nail in the coffin. You can look back at all that. I know a lot of people want to look at, I don't know how far I want to speak on this. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube a week after I've been on there. Magnus Hirschfeld. You should probably look into that gentleman. And I use that term ever so loosely. Because he's one of the chosen few. And if you run down the things he was into, you might come across some things that you might not want to be into. Magnus Hirschfeld. So you could definitely look at that guy. You could look at the Frankfurt School. I'd look into that as well. I'd look into the Frankfurt School and their ties to Columbia University and, of course, University of Chicago. And look at who's running those. And look at how those have been hubs of communist proliferation, indoctrination, and so much more. I'm trying my best to reel it in, folks. I really am, because you know me, I want to go full bore on this thing. I came darn close to not even putting this on YouTube this evening, but I thought, what the heck. Other things you may want to look into in case you missed it. Dr. John Money. Look into Dr. John Money's dastardly psychological experiments and how they resulted in the suicide of those two people. And you'll see a pretty fine connection between the John Money experiments and the Magnus Hirschfeld connections. Just throwing it out there. And I'm going to get off the hot topics for a little bit so I can go a little broader topic. Because if you are not living under a rock, if you happen to exit your home and mingle, how'd that pop song go? With the common people like you, a lovely song, but I digress. If you go out amongst the people, you should be disgusted, offended, repulsed, revolted, and otherwise almost downright nauseated. And you should take into account what I said earlier. You should be nauseated because we have taken our foot off the gas. We've been so tolerant, inclusive, receptive, and going with that cultural relativity by Franz Boas of Columbia, that we have kept on keeping on, kept on pretending it's normal for generation after generation until, as I said before, we are about throat deep in the grave that is America. Because we just keep pretending it's okay. It's going to be all right. Just keep pretending it's normal, right? So the lovely graphic by yours truly you're seeing on the screen there just gives you a little bit of a smattering of what you have to contend with as you wade your way into the sea of human refuse that is our society now. 8 days a week and twice on Sunday. You're going to see people playing dress up all over the place. The cosplay industry. We have a whole industry, conferences, everything just contingent on people playing dress up. And we are pretending it's normal. Folks, I got no problem with Halloween. I love Halloween. I really do. When I was a kid, I used to play dress up and, play army and cowboys and Indians and all that kind of good stuff. I enjoyed that as a child. But how does that paraphrase from La Biblia go? It goes, when you were a boy, you thought and acted like a boy, but when you became a man, you put down those childish things and you began to be a man. A lot of folks miss the memo because it seems that we have deferred adulthood. We're in this latency period where we just refuse to accept the reality that we are presented with. So it's multifaceted. So you got people legitimately wearing costumes out in public, literally dressed like superheroes, abso-smurfly wearing tails. Went to a birthday party last year with my daughter, and these children weren't at the birthday party. They showed up afterwards. Two girls wearing tails at the park, and we're supposed to just pretend it's normal. We got adults dressed up like Spider-Man, and it ain't Halloween. It's a cosplay event. And we're supposed to believe it's normal. I'm not even going to touch the 10,000-ton elephant in the room, and you know what I'm talking about, don't you? That's a whole nother ball of wax. We got people cutting stuff off and stapling stuff on and pretending it's normal when it's not normal. It ain't normal at all, folks. We got people legitimizing, normalizing, standardizing, homogenizing the indoctrination of children into various forms of sexuality, deviance, and the like. And we're supposed to pretend it's normal, right? One of my favorite classes when I was in school, undergrad, was deviant sociology. And there was another deviant psychology. It was great courses. And I got to be real with you, I don't even know if these courses exist anymore. Because we as a society have kept pretending it's normal. By pretending it's normal, I'm talking about everything that was once deemed deviant outside of the normal standards, mores, and values of the society. We've now pretended it's normal. I don't even know if it'd be allowed to have an abnormal psych class. Would it be allowed to have an abnormal social class? I don't know. I just don't know, folks. Is that even possible anymore in 2025, year of our Lord, to acknowledge that some things are deviant in the society and some things are normal? That's the whole premise of the show, the AnomicAge, folks. It exists when there's a clash between the normal and the abnormal that you can no longer tolerate. You got a clash of two different eras of the society. And it causes those feelings of hopelessness, of helplessness. That's really what we got going on in our society. We have the thin remnant that exists that knows this is all bull butter. And then we have the rest of the story. We really do, folks. We got the rest of the people going along to get along, pretending it's normal. Pretending it's normal to indoctrinate your children into all sorts of deviant acts. Pretending it's normal to put your children on medications to reverse normal development. Pretending it's normal to have stuff cut off and stapled on. Pretending it's normal to remove something here and try to plant it there. Am I making myself clear while being the least bit under the radar? I think I am, folks. I think it's really becoming clear for you. Here's another aspect of it all. All the subcultures, countercultures, and the like that were once deemed deviant, they're now not even deviant anymore. That's what's so bizarre. And the psychology of these deviant subcultures and countercultures was that it was against the mainstream culture. But now, what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. You know, I'm again paraphrasing the Bible here for you, because now these deviant cultures are the mainstream culture. So what exactly is deviant in 2025? I would submit to you what is deviant in 2025 is actually what is normal. Subscribing to standards, having those norms and mores, and not being ashamed of them, not backing down, not apologizing for being normal, and not being afraid to call out those that are absolutely deviant in the society. That is the crux of a society. Just as the crux of a nation is having borders, the crux of a culture and or society is having norms, having standards, having things that are subscribed to by the populace of said culture. That's what it's all about, folks. That's why 60, 70 years ago, you could go to different parts of the world and you would experience those different cultures. You go to Greece, you experience the Greek culture. They speak the language of Greece. They eat dishes that are from the Greek culture. They have certain attire that is of that culture. Same thing with Japan, same thing with Spain, same thing with Saudi Arabia and the like. They had culture. It was unique. And if you deviated from that culture, you were deviant and abnormal in that culture. Just as plain as the nose on your face, folks. But now we are experiencing the complete cultural degradation. And it is a mental phenomenon, first and foremost. Because everything comes from the mental. So the mental phenomenon is the catalyst that creates the normalization of the abnormal, that creates the acceptance of the deviance. It all stems from the mental phenomenon. So if the American people would say, hey, black is black, white is white, deviant is deviant, and normal is normal. If they would just call the proverbial spade a spade, this would cease just like that. It would vanish like phantoms at dawn, folks. But we, the cultural remnants of the Americana society, actually have to say these things. Actually have to, I'm not even say that. We have to not just say these things. We have to live these things. Let your existence be the resistance. I don't know how many times I've said that on this show. I'm going to say at least 10 more. To turn this ship around, we have to let our existence be the resistance. Don't look to politicians. Don't look to your buddy. Don't look to the guy down the street. Don't hope it all changes miraculously through whatever demigod is selected, not elected. That ain't the key, folks. The key is the populace. The key is that 100th monkey syndrome, where enough people actually start washing the potatoes in the salt water and everyone clicks into gear and goes, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Let's get on board. The mental phenomena has to be the catalyst for this change. It can begin nowhere else. The mental phenomena has to be it. I'm going to leave it right there, folks. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Please get out there and do your part. Make a difference. Thank you ever so much for tuning in to this program. PayPal.me/AnomicAge. Patreon.com/AnomicAge. If you're missing anything but these 4 or 5 shows you're seeing on YouTube, go to AnomicAge.com. You'll find all the rest. Cash App. Buy me a cup of coffee as well. I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the Anomic Age.
Thank you for listening to the AnomicAge, a JohnAge project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to AnomicAge.com. That's AnomicAge.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to the AnomicAge.